Hi guys, it's me Ty coming here from Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and today I'm going to give you guys a review of the 2006 Suzuki Viva 110 motorbike, and then also the procedure for buying them. So I bought my first motorbike now here, and like I said, this is a 2006 model, and what I ended up doing was I tried to go through the Comer24 website, but half of the ads on there are scammers. Like, they had motorbikes like this for like $156. Then I found one for $210 that I was gonna buy. These were all Suzukis. The Hondas are just so expensive. And there's two types of things there on. It always says for the identification, it either says plate number or ID card. And what that means is you do not want to buy the one with the plate number unless you're willing to lose the bike, because it means it's a stolen bike. So if the police officers pull you over, especially if you're out on the highway in the province, which it's pretty regular to get pulled over there, if you don't have your ID card, that's the title for that bike, the police department will seize it. So and you'll find those bikes for like $300, you know, with just the plate number, which is just the license plate that comes on the back of them. So it was very important for me to find a bike that had the ID card, and I found one for $210, but everybody on there was just like Facebook Marketplace, where they're all just a bunch of scammers. They ghost you or whatever. As soon as you ask any like really detailed stuff about it, like if you want to say you want to test drive it, instantly they ghost you, you know, because they just want you to send money, and then your money is gone and you never see that bike. So what I ended up doing is all my Khmer friends, they're like, you got to go to Orsi Market, and it's not actually at Orsi Market. I walked there like 2 years ago when I first moved to Cambodia, and it's on the way there. There's like some side streets, and they have a whole bunch of used motorbike dealerships. But I tell you what, all those used motorbikes, they are expensive as heck. For like a Honda Icon, which they don't even make anymore, they mounted all new plastic on them and everything. They come with ID card, they want $700. A little Honda today that is not in mint condition, and they quit making them in like 2016. They're only little 50cc scooters. They wanted at least $350 to $450 for them. So I kind of knew that I was going to end up with a Suzuki just because they're a cheaper brand. So I ended up buying this one here, and it was missing a lot of parts. The mirrors here, this one here was missing the glass in it. This one here had a crack in the glass in it, and I wasn't sure how much that was going to cost. So I went to the mechanic, and they're like, yeah, what was it? No, I believe it was 6,000 Cambodia real for both mirrors total. So that's 75 cents for each mirror. Who would have ever imagined that you buy it for that amount, and that's with the mechanic installing it. So labor in them, they line everything up. Then all the lights on the dash, the fuel gauge, everything worked, but my odometer did not work, and the speedometer didn't work. So I got by without that for a little while, and I was sure it was the cable going down to the front tire, just because everything else on the dashboard worked. And then I'll show you guys the controls here. This bottom one here is the horn, and you have to have the key on. And then your signal lights here, you just pull it off to the left here, and your left signal lights will be blinking, and then you press the yellow button to clear your signal lights. Then you press to the right, then your right signal lights will be going, and then you press it in the center here again, and that'll shut them off. And then this here is your high and low beams, which my high and low beams don't work on this bike because it's got an LED bulb in it, and LEDs do not have high and low beam. And then for your right hand controls here, you have your electric start button, press right there. Then you have your, if any of you guys are familiar with Honda four-wheelers, you have the middle position is run or on, and then bottom is off and up is off. It just kills power or spark to it, in which this one here does not work on this bike. But you always want to make sure that's in the middle position, or else your bike won't start. And then this here is the lights, and right now they're turned off, and all it is open and close. So you press it in, and it'll come all the way out, and that means your lights are on. And then you pressed again and it stays part way in, that means your lights are off. And then these scooters here, you guys, these motorbikes, they do not have two handles on the handlebars like a traditional bike in the United States. You do not have a clutch handle because these are semi-automatic transmissions like a Honda 300 4-Trax four-wheeler. And this is your handbrake, and that is just for your front brakes. Coming around here, you guys, you have your foot brake, which that is for your rear brakes. And then you have your kickstart. You just flip it out and kick it over, because on a lot of stuff here, the starter is broken on it, in which my electric starter was broken on mine too. The mechanic just fixed it, but I was just kickstarting it, so not a big deal. And then this bike here, it was missing this foot peg, which my girlfriend, we wanted to go on a lawn trip to CM Reap. I had to have that, so I paid for that, and I paid. This one was missing just the foot peg. It was on there, but it was flopping way down. It wouldn't have been comfortable for her. And then on the passenger side, or on the left-hand side here, it wasn't just the foot peg missing, it was the entire assembly here. And I had to go to ORC Market for that, and that was $15 total for that entire assembly. They got it off a used bike from the junkyard, and then also that payout for the other side. And then they ended up actually throwing in new rubber on this foot peg, new rubber on this foot peg, and then rubber for this brand new rubber for the Kickstarter. And I asked my girlfriend, I was like, can't they just knock it off the bill? Because I thought $15 was kind of expensive, and she did too. And she's like, nope, they quoted you the $15 yesterday, and they were gonna run to the junkyard, and now they're throwing in all this free stuff to make sure that it adds up to the $15. So at least they just didn't just take my $15 and just give me those used parts, so that was okay. And like I said, so when you guys get these bikes here, oh, and then also to generate the seat to get to your gas tank here, you got to use your ignition key, and you set it in right here, and you turn it, and it'll, I'm going to set you guys down right here. Turn it, and then you can lift up the seat here. And there's your gas tank. Your gas cap is here, and your battery is there, and then you have a little compartment there, and that's about it to that. Okay, so when you guys may be buying these bikes here, like I say, you're gonna get a little ID card. Make sure that the owner has the ID card. Make sure that he shows it to you. That ID card, it's gonna have 3 different numbers on it. It's gonna have your license plate number on it. It's gonna have the frame number on that ID card, which on this Suzuki Vivas, it's stamped right into the back side of the engine by the engine oil dipstick here. And I'll pull the engine oil dipstick here for you guys too. It's just like a normal four-wheeler. That's what these have with the crosshatch marks. You just gotta make sure it's between the crosshatch marks. And then it will also have a body stamp on these too. And DOT will check all this stuff when you get this stuff changed over. So like on this one here, it's just stamped right into the plastic there. That's the body. So like I said, and you make sure the ID card matches all 3 of these things: the license plate, the body, and the engine. But like I said, I think the engine one, they actually call it the frame though. And it's got a really tiny gas tank on it, you guys. So like I said, I paid $15 for that. And then as soon as I got it home, I told them to do an oil change, and the dealership said that they would, because there was no oil on the dipstick, but it wasn't blowing any blue smoke or anything. But I was like, I want you guys to do an oil change on this before I take it home here. And he's like, okay. So he's like, we'll do that for $5. And I got it home and I checked the engine oil, and it didn't look like they added any oil. So then I went ahead and I bought another quart of oil for $5, but normally it's like 6 or 7 around here. And all of a sudden oil just started pouring out of this side cover here, which I can see it's actually kind of a little bit wet there. So I took it over to our local mechanic, and he pulled that out, and the O-ring was shot, but this plastic cap here was actually cracked. So for it was really cheap, maybe like $2, I think 8,000 Cambodia real. He had a brand new cap, and he just screwed it in there, and that fixed that, so thank God. What else? I decided with us, me and the girlfriend wanted to go to CM Reap. I was like, I want a speedometer or else we're not going to be going speed limit. We're going to be going way below and it'll take us forever to get there. So I went to the motorcycle repair shop, just any of them that are around there that have just junk parts from the junkyard hanging on the walls. And I said, how much is it going to be to replace this? I was like, I think that the gauges cluster is good, but I was like, I think the cable's broken. So he said, I believe it was $10. Yeah, it was $10. So he went ahead and he ran over to the Suzuki dealership and he bought a brand new cable. As you guys can see, the speedometer cable that goes all the way up to the gauge cluster. This was brand new. And then this here is your like toner ring. Any of you guys are familiar with like a Chevy Impala car, you know, like 2013 or any of them? They have a toner ring on them with like a little magnet that senses everything on the cable here when it goes around. So he bought that. That was brand new in the Suzuki packaging. He installed it, and the mechanic spun the wheel while the other mechanic was up there looking at the gauge cluster, and he said nothing was happening. So he ran to the Suzuki dealership, and there's actually a second toner ring that looks just like this one over on this side. It's like, it must be like hidden in there, and he installed that, and then that fixed it. So just remember, if you guys ever have this issue, it's two of them, but it's not worth you guys buying tools to repair your own stuff, because like I said, the labor rates here are so freaking cheap that, yeah, it's cheaper to just have them do it, and those guys know what they're doing. Then you have to invest in a bunch of tools. And then, like I said, the normal cost for oil changes around here is like $5. But if it's 1 liter is $5, I don't know where the heck they're making their labor rates. They better make sure they're actually changing your engine oil. So if it's $7 they charge you, that's not bad either. And the mechanic said change your engine oil every 3,000 kilometers. And I put in another video. If you have like a little scooter, this is just a chain drive. You're supposed to change the gear lube on those every 6,000, I think I said in that video. And what else have I done to this baby, you guys? Okay, here's another thing about Phnom Penh, Cambodia. Like me, I'm like really picky about my stuff. I do all my own repairs back in the United States and everything. These guys, they will lose your screws and anything they pull out of there. They just treat your stuff like shit, literally. Because when they did that speedometer cable for me, they fucked up my plastic on here. Sorry for the language. And they and it was just wobbling, like the headlight wasn't everything. I knew it was gonna freaking make the bulbs burn out, because I've had that happen on cars after an accident and everything. So they went ahead and they're like, oh, is it okay if we just go ahead and use like a zip tie to hold it? And I was like, okay, whatever. And then also here, this motorbike, we started heading to Kampot with it, and the girlfriend on a trip, it was all running great and everything. And we were running at 40 kilometers per hour, and we got right to the very edge of Phnom Penh, and the highway turned 80 kilometers per hour. And like, I've gone to the zoo quite a few times around here, and I run 60 kilometers per hour. Everything's good, but it was just me on it, not the girlfriend. So we got to the 80-mile-kilometer zone. It was me and the girlfriend on there. So I went to go speed it up to 80 kilometers per hour. And right when I hit 80, I heard a big backfire through the carburetor, and the engine turned off, and I couldn't get it running. And everybody around here has told me that the Suzuki Vivas are terrible for overheating. They get hot, and the carburetor will start going put, 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 and just have no power. So you got to pull over the side of the road, and you got to park for like 50 minutes to an hour and let your engine cool down, because these are air-cooled engines. And then after that, you can go start it, and you can head back on your way. And after so many kilometers, you gotta let it cool down again. So I never had any issues. That 40 kilometers per hour, me and the girlfriend, the carburetor was not putting and not lacking power, nothing like that. But like I said, once we sped up to 80 kilometers per hour, as soon as I hit 80, I heard this loud bang. And it, like I said, it sounded like a backfire right through the carburetor, and the engine shut off. So me and the girlfriend, we let it cool down for an hour, and then it still wouldn't start. So then we pushed it to a gas station. They're like, yep, about 1 kilometer down the road is a mechanic shop. So we took it there. I pushed it there, and the mechanic is like, yeah, I can't get around to it until 4 o'clock, which we are a long ways from home, you guys. No hotels, no nothing around there. And I knew he was gonna have to order parts or something. I wasn't sure if a spark plug just got too hot and went bad. So I was like, nope, that's not gonna work for me. I was like, I wanna go home, but I wanna take the bike. So he flagged down one of these tuk-tuks here, and see this guy here, he's got a back rack on the back. He said for $17.50, which is 70,000 Cambodia real, he'll haul it home. So him and the mechanic and me loaded it on there, and there wasn't much room on there, and they ended up just about breaking this fender off. So it's like, yeah, everybody just kind of half-asses everything, and your stuff gets wrecked. So they tore up the fender, so I super glued all that on there, and like I said, they mess up a lot of stuff. Like even when they did these foot pegs for me, they screwed up my mechanic's kickstand here, and it was hanging like partway down to there, and it was just catching on the street and everything, just making scraping noises. I was gonna end up wrecking it. So I took it back to them, and I told them, I was like, you guys screw that up. I was like, I want you guys to fix that for free. And I was like, I think, and I told them exactly what was wrong, because, you know, people can be kind of boneheads. I was like, I think you guys tightened the nut too tight for it, and that's why it's not going up. Because when I went to go leave the first time, when they did that work for me, they were hammering on it with a big old sledgehammer to try and get it up there. And then they just left it part way down because they couldn't hammer it up anymore. So that's where it is with that. So, but like I said, if you guys want to get into a motorbike, these Suzukis here, they're fine for around town, going 40 kilometers per hour usually, you know, 60 at times. But for going out on the highway there, okay, so speaking about that, okay, so I had it hauled home. I took it to the mechanic now, and they're like, yeah, leave it, it'll be like a half a day before we can get to it, and we'll call you with how much it's going to cost to fix it after we diagnose what's wrong with it. Well, guess what, you guys? They texted me a picture, and they had the entire cylinder head pulled off of this bike here. And I was surprised. I was worried, because I thought it just lost spark. You know, I thought it had something to do with the ignition system, just from the engine getting too hot, that an electrical component went bad. And I asked them, I was like, what went wrong? And they said that one of the valves got bent. It must have, the valve must make contact with the piston or whatever, and it wasn't sealing up. So they showed me my old valve, and they had thrown a brand new valve on me, and it was $25 to repair it, because they had to put in a brand new head gasket. So a new head gasket and a new valve was $25 along with their labor. So, which I didn't think was that bad, but you know, just everything just adds up. So I asked the girl, I was like, what can I do to prevent this from happening? I was like, should I not drive 80 kilometers per hour, just use it around city and not go to Siem Reap? And she's like, no. She's like, usually it's a 125cc Honda Dream is what everybody takes to Siem Reap, but she's like, no, I think you're fine to go to Siem Reap with this thing now. But she's like, I think you need to get your valves adjusted like every oil change or something. She wasn't too sure about when to do it or whatever, but that's kind of ridiculous. An oil change is every 3,000 kilometers. So I'm gonna run back to the dealer, or to the mechanic shop, and ask the actual mechanic. He was so busy, how many kilometers he wants me to be getting the valves adjusted. I mean, not like it's a big deal to pay $25 to have them redo the cylinder head every time, but that was expensive, and they really destroyed my bike when I was that far from home, hauling it home. So I want to do preventive maintenance where I don't have to have them have this thing broke down the side of the road and have it get destroyed on the back of a tuk-tuk on my drive home. So if you guys like this video and you guys are thinking about buying a Suzuki Viva 110, this video will kind of tell you if you guys should. So all right, take care, you guys. Like, share, and subscribe.